Hey, what's going on everybody, and a warm welcome back to the Whiskey Cove. And on today's episode, per request, we look at the best alternatives for Weller whiskey. You know the drill, run that video. Alright then folks, before we get into today's video, don't forget to go and check out our website, TheWhiskeyCove.square.site. The link will be down below in the description. You can go and check out the Patreon, the shop, the gallery, which has loads of pictures about the Whiskey Cove and just some of the travels that I've been on surrounding whiskey, and then also some single barrel information as well. Really awesome place to go and check out some fun stuff about the Whiskey Cove. So do not forget to go and do that. So today's video idea, so I made a video recently, the best alternatives to Buffalo Trace whiskey. So this is a bit of a shout out to R. Hayes, who said, great topic, some other stuff. Would you do a similar style video for Weller? Well, you bet your bottom dollar, R. Hayes. Let's get into this video. So, the Wellers that we have today, of course, we have the full lineup, excluding William LaRue Weller. So we have the Special Reserve, the 107, we have 12, the Full Proof, CYPD, and Single Barrel. And as you can see, it's pretty busy back here, so let's just get straight into this video. So let's start with the, I guess like the baby of the family, and that's Weller Special Reserve, which is this bottle. Pretty cheap and inexpensive bottle. Should run you around about $30 unless it's marked up. It can be pretty hard to find. The whole Weller lineup is going to be pretty hard to find. I've kind of combined some of my best recommendations. Some may be easy to find, some might not be, but at least I'll give you a more of a broader scope when you're trying to hunt down something similar to Weller. So Weller Special Reserve, usually around 30 bucks. This is coming in at 45% alcohol or 90 proof. So I have two different options for each bottle. So my first recommendation for Weller Special Reserve is going to be Bernheim Original Kentucky Straight Wheat Whiskey. Very findable. You're going to be paying around $30, so pretty comparable in MSRP. I think ABV is actually smack on the same, 45% alcohol or 90 proof. Also a 7 years age statement. This is non-age statement, but with Buffalo Trace, they don't normally put out too much young distillate. I'll have to double check for the Weller Special Reserve, and if I can find that, I'll put it on the screen. Usually, it's a lot of non-age stated stuff with Buffalo Trace, but this is a really great alternative, and $7, not $7, around $30 for 7-year-old age stated wheat whiskey. However, what I would personally recommend is going to be Maker's Mark 46, not the cask strength, just the regular Maker's Mark 46. Again, pretty similar in ABV, 47% ABV or 94 proof. Some really nice tasting notes from this guy. Think like it's like some toasted vanilla and some toasted wood. I think a lot of people know Maker's 46, and I would actually say that this whiskey is better than the Weller Special Reserve. Price for this guy is about $40. I haven't bought it for a while, so I think it sits around that, maybe a little bit less there as well. Non-age stated, but they go through their Maker's 46 stave profile to make this whiskey here. So if you can't find Weller, you're welcome to get that, but I would recommend the Maker's 46. So next up, we have Weller Antique 107. So let's take a look here, which is this guy. Again, non-age stated. This is coming in at 53.5% alcohol or 107 proof. So a difficult bottle to find. I believe in Ohio and some other places, maybe Texas as well, you can find these guys, but the rest of the country, you're pretty much out of luck. So my first recommendation for you is going to be, and this isn't any easy bottle to find either, but it's still a recommendation. That's going to be the Kosher by Buffalo Trace. So the Buffalo Trace Wheat Recipe Kosher edition. So this is a little bit less ABV. With this guy was 53.5 and this is 47. But I think this is pretty comparable in terms of the wheat recipe that's in Buffalo Trace. I'm sure they probably share the same kind of mash, not necessarily the mash bill, but the same distillate, and is more or less exactly the same that they probably use for both of these. However, this is a difficult bottle to find as well. And some may say that it might even be a more difficult bottle to find than this, but at least it gives you more options. However, what I would recommend is going to be Maker's Mark, and not just any Maker's Mark, but a Maker's Mark single barrel store pick. So this will give you enough variety, and you can get some excellent Maker's Marks out there in the single barrel program. MSRP is usually around $60 to $70. they're going to be pretty unique across different ones, like I said, but you're going to get some real hitters. So some of the single barrel Maker's Mark picks I've actually been able to buy have been better than Weller 107. Proof for ABV is up there over the Weller 107. So this guy is coming in at 54.7 and 53.5. So pretty close, but they usually sit a little, just a touch, a little bit higher. And I promise we're not going to see too much more Maker's Mark on this channel. It's just a very sensible and obvious alternative to Weller's just because of the mash bill that are in Maker's Mark. So if you can't find the 107, get the Buffalo Trace kosher wheat recipe. My recommendation would be the Maker's Mark single barrel store picks. So next up we have Weller 12 year, which is this guy, aged for 12 years because we know it says on the bottle. Proof is 90 or 45% ABV. So when I was thinking for alternatives for this guy, I was thinking more about maybe the age statement, which is why if you can't find Weller 12, you should get 1792 aged 12 years. Yes, I know, potentially a hard bottle for you folks outside to find there, maybe even harder than Weller 12, but really great alternative to Weller 12. If I were to review this whiskey, I probably would give it a similar score to what I give Weller 12. I can't remember that exact number, but it's a pretty decent whiskey as well. And you can definitely taste the 12-year age statement. It is Buffalo Trace as well, so you get some of those similar notes. However, you don't get the wheat recipe or as much as you do in this guy here. So I was 1792 wheat, but what I would recommend, and this guy is a little bit easier to find, and that's why I'm recommending him, it's going to be Knob Creek 12 year. So again, it is an allocated whiskey, but it's definitely much more findable than these two. I think the proof is a little bit higher, coming in 100 proof, so you're getting a little bit more heat. Again, sticking with that 12-year age statement, an addition or release by Jim Beam. I was thinking for this bottle, maybe do the single barrel Knob Creek picks, but we kind of went that direction already with the Maker's Mark. So if you cannot find Weller 12, get the 1792 12, and if my recommendation would be the Knob Creek 12. Usually MSRP on that guy is like 60 bucks as well. This is normally like 50 and this is normally about 60, 70. Probably this is more expensive one out of the three. Okay, next up, and we're getting into the fun stuff here, that is going to be Weller Full Proof. So it's going to be this guy here, and this is coming in at 57% alcohol or 114 proof, non-age stated again. Some really nice notes I get from this is like toasted creme brulee, charred barrel, and just like a really beautiful oily mouthfeel here. However, a very difficult bottle of whiskey to find. So if you cannot find this, my first recommendation for you, and I promise this is the last Maker's Mark on this list, and that is going to be Maker's 46 cask strength. So if you remember for the Stag Junior in the Buffalo Trace bourbons, we recommended Maker's Mark cask strength, but now we're going with Maker's Mark 46 cask strength because I feel like the 46 lineup for Maker's has more similar tasting notes to Weller than maybe just the general kind of like the cask strength version. So that's why we went with this, because I get like some of those same toasted creamy vanilla kind of creme brulee notes that I do with this. Really great alternative, and this is coming in at 55. Yes, they're about 2% ABV off, but very similar and a lot more findable. I think MSRP for this is like $60, so similar in price definitely. But what I would recommend, and this is a little bit different in terms of flavor profile, but nevertheless, it's a great bottle of whiskey. So this is what I would recommend. I recommend you get the Smoke Wagon, uncut and unfiltered. Yes, I know that some folks out there have told me that this isn't an easy bottle to find, but this just sits on shelves here in Colorado. So if you're passing through Colorado, definitely buy it. Also as well, they sell a lot of this stuff on their website, the Smoke Wagon website, so you can definitely buy it there. This is a little bit of a higher proof, coming in at 58.12%. It doesn't taste similar to Weller, if I'm completely honest at all, but I just think it's so great and it's so findable. Yes, you're gonna get some uniqueness between the series because like this is batch number 40. I think they're above 100 now. So you're gonna get some uniqueness there as well. But in terms of quality and in terms of how good the bourbon is, this is definitely as good as this guy here. So if you can't find that, get the Maker's 46, my recommendation. If you want something a little different, go for the Smoke Wagon, uncut and unfiltered. So next up we have Weller CYPD, and this is what this looks like. This is the white Weller coming in at 47.5% alcohol or 95 proof. I don't know why I thought that the Weller CYPD was 100 proof or 50% ABV. I guess I was a little bit out off the mark with that. However, we're getting up to the scale as well. All the Wells are pretty hard to find, but these are almost, you can call them unicorns, these next two. And that's definitely what CYPD is. So if you're able to find it, it's gonna cost you like $60, $70 at MSRP, which, you know, it's not really gonna happen. However, if you can't get that, you should get 1792 bottled in bond. Ignore the store pick on this one. This is just my recommendation. This has won a bunch of awards at the San Francisco Spirit Awards, so it's great juice in the bottle. And it also, it's a lot more findable. It is also Buffalo Trace, so under the Sazerac umbrella distillate there, and it has some variation compared to what you get with this. Maybe a little bit more spicier notes, but again, the distillate's the same. The ABV is pretty close by, a 50% ABV or 100 proof, so we're not too far away from that. But I think this is a really great option. Can be difficult to find again in some parts, but I think this is an excellent option if you can find it. We're talking about spreading the net a little bit as best we can here. However, what I would recommend would be you get Russell's Reserve single barrel picks. I think these are phenomenal value for money. I think whenever you see them, you have to pick them up. I probably see them, we've actually just had a bit of a dump right now in Colorado where every store seems to get them. So I'm not sure if Russell's or Wild Turkey have just been pushing them out a lot more. So hopefully you folks out there will be able to find them. Again, another kick up in ABV, as this one's coming in at 55% alcohol or 110 proof. We're getting, this one is an 11 year, but it ranges, you can get like 8 years. I've never seen anything above 11 years. If you have out there, please let me know. I would love to see if these go above 11 years. However, if you can't find the CYPD, get the 1792 bottled in bond. However, I would recommend the Russell single barrel because these are just hitters. All right then folks, then we have one last bottle, and that is going to be Weller single barrel. So this is coming in at 48.5% alcohol by volume or 97 proof. Another unicorn on this list, and probably the most expensive Weller, and also the hardest one to find here. I've never been able to find this in Colorado. I've had to kind of get it from when I was down in Arizona from a store, and it was very expensive. I pulled the trigger on it because I had the rest of them at the time. We did a review on this guy recently. If you haven't watched that, please go check it out, or maybe I'll just be posting pretty soon here as well. So when you find out that you actually can't find this at all, I recommend you get Henry McKenna 10 year. Again, this is a single barrel product, and so is Henry McKenna 10 year. You're getting 10 years of age in this bottle. You're getting it bottled in bond, so it's 50% ABV, 100 proof, but you're also getting some variants in the single barrel products. It's of pretty popular belief that probably about half the Henry McKenna bottles are just okay, but every now and again you will find a hitter. Probably is the same with any single barrel product really. So that's why I would recommend that. Yes, MSRP on this has kicked up a lot in the last 2 years. I think about 2 to 3 years ago, this guy was $30 sitting on shelves, much like the rest of bourbon out there, I guess. However, now I'm seeing it $60, $70. However, you're still able to find this much more than the Weller single barrel. But what I would recommend for this, and this might be a little bit of a controversial one, and also another bottle that might be a little bit hard to find, that is just going to be just Blanton's, I guess, Proof is pretty much the same with this guy. You're looking at 48.5% alcohol, and with this one you're looking at, it never says the percentage alcohol, which really screws up with me. This is 93 proof, 46.5% alcohol and 48.5. So it's only 2% alcohol between the two. Yes, this can be a difficult bottle to find, but let's talk about how difficult this is to find comparable to this guy, because you're not going to find this. Pretty much, you're not finding an MSRP, but you might just, if you're someone who doesn't mind getting up off the sofa or has the time, I would say, to go out and look a little bit, spend some time on the road and just try to do a little bit of hunting, making relationships with store owners, then you might be able to get one of these for MSRP, which is usually around $60 to $70. It's kind of gone up again, much like everything. So if you can't get Weller, definitely get Henry McKenna 10, but I would recommend good old Blanton's. So that's all we have time for today, folks. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. And if you have any recommendations about which whiskeys are good alternatives to Weller, let us know down in the description, because I'm always trying to learn new and different things. So if you feel like something that would have plugged in here perfectly and something I might have missed, please let me know. And as we drink through the world's whiskeys, one glass at a time, cheers.